Hi, so this is Eric Rains with Unleashing Natural Humanity. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me for the volunteer workshop for the Ancestral Clearing. What you guys are doing is you're really helping me to refine this. You're really helping me to turn this into something that has a much more powerful effect when it's done live. And so not only am I going to be opening up coaching sessions specifically around this right here, that way I get more practice one-on-one, but this right here, I really ask that everybody really give this their best, really kind of take everything into this. Even if you don't know what we're doing, really try to give everything that you've got for this hour that we're going to be really doing this work right here. And when you give yourself over to this and really try as hard as you can, not to think about it, but to feel the sensations that we're creating right here, this is one of the ways to really start going in and find the body levels of dense energy that are stuck inside the genetic programming. And the crazy thing about this is that, you might have trauma from 40,000 generations back that has echoed down into a specific program of thought or feeling or personality inside of you right now. And those people are long dead. They're not here anymore. And yet when we tune into it, we can feel how real that energy actually is. And that's dragging the earth down. It's dropping the earth out of that fifth dimensional vibration. And so what's happening is when we start going through this, this is hands down one of the easiest ways for one person through their genetics to clean out an infinite amount of density, an infinite amount of energy that has been really blocked up and cascading through the generations that creates a lot of the systems and controls that we have in our lives in today. Instead of the ability to respond, which is to analyze the situation, to understand emotionally what's going on, energetically what's going on, and then choose the highest good from that path, that's responding. These programs, they have us in that knee-jerk reaction. And so that's where we really want to start differentiating our understanding. It's not that we're trying to clean out, a whole bunch of junk that might have happened a long time ago. Yes, that's exactly what is the benefit of cleaning this out. But the thing is, we want to go into ourselves. We want to find a very pure and clean and high vibratory resonance inside of ourselves. And then from that space, we can tune our attention into places where it is blocked, where it is stuck. And that's where the work needs to be done. And so, before we get started here, I really just want everybody to recognize that as we go into this, that if you feel like you're not doing it right, that right there is a huge red flag for you to immediately go into the sensations. And I'm pretty sure everybody's gone through the breath of life technique at least once. And that right there is kind of a precursor of the sensations that we move through the body. But we're going to go a lot more in depth into that today. And what ends up happening is when you can create such intense awareness and focus inside of your body, there's a tingling buzz. There's a bioelectric activation that happens. And that only happens when we're paying attention to the sensations. So if at any time you feel your mind popping up and saying, I don't think I'm doing this correctly, that's okay. You need to go ahead and just focus on the movement of the breath, the skin, the muscles, and the bones, and go into the sensation. And I'm going to be sending everybody a replay. The replay is going to be viable for about a week after this. So once you get all your questions at the end of the Q&A, we're going to try to really refine and make sure that you have a complete understanding of what's happening here. That way you can go ahead and really kind of hit this hard for the next week or so. And so what I want is a feedback directly from the workshop itself once we're done here. And then I want some feedback to see what happens after you've done this maybe 6 or 7 times throughout, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks or so. And that's really going to help me not only refine where we need to go energetically with the foundation of this class, but also, kind of where we need to bring attention to and maintain awareness as we go throughout the rest of our lives, pretty much, And we're going to be releasing a lot of really dense energy right here. And usually when that happens, there's kind of like a tipping and a rebalancing type of a situation. And so right off of the bat, I want everybody to really just kind of be aware that your emotional state over the next couple of days, it might be a little topsy-turvy. So just really, kind of maintain an awareness on top of that. Keep the observer aspect of you, like, how do I feel right now? What is my thought patterning right now? And anytime that you feel yourself starting to build up, the beginning of this meditation that we're going to go through is perfect to start getting this to clean out. And so the actual mechanics of what we're going to be doing as we walk through this is we're going to activate the bioelectricity. We're going to tune into the body brain and get the mind, the word control, out of the situation and go into the sensation itself. And once we activate that, we're going to start putting in high vibration emotion into it. Now, the mechanics behind this, before we get started, that way everybody kind of has an understanding of this. Now, when you smile, when you laugh, there's a feeling inside of you that bubbles up to create that sensation. And what we're looking for is the symptom of it. We can reverse engineer that and pull the smile, the symptom of the energy, back into the body to create the energy. And so once we get the bioelectric activation, you'll feel the tingling and the buzzing or the warmth and the shifting. And as soon as you pull in the smile, there's a very definitive change that you'll understand once we get into that. And so that's going to start really lifting your vibration, you know, and there's a lot of people who talk about, well, you just have to raise your vibration. And well, nobody really has a concrete understanding of how to do that other than, you know, you think good thoughts, you feel good feelings, you eat really good, you exercise. You know, those things are, they lift your vibration as a byproduct of doing something good for yourself. This right here, by actively creating powerful emotions that you enjoy, you know, it's a natural vibration field lifter, and you guys will feel this. You'll start being able to release the density out of the body, and then we'll tune into the light levels. So the bioelectricity, once you get that tingling sensation or that warmth and that shifting, this is where most people are missing the mark right here. There's really beautiful practitioners of the mind and the spirit levels, but they have to bring their consciousness into the mind and the spirit. They don't bring that mind and the spirit and activate it inside of the body. And so that's what we're going to learn how to do today. Once we get to that, we're going to play around with activating the body and feeling that high vibrational space. And then as soon as we have that nice and clean, we're going to tune into the actual ancestry. And the way that we do that is we simply feel with our eyes closed. You just feel your parents standing behind you. And what will happen is when you're lifting up, if you tune into density, it's a place that's falling down. And so what we're looking for is a completely different language that is not inside of words. This is all about feeling. This is all about sensation. And if you don't feel this as strong as you know you're supposed to, that means that there's something blocked in the way that's keeping you from that. So pay attention to your emotional state. Pay attention to the energy. If you find yourself getting frustrated, if you find yourself getting impatient, if you find yourself getting angry, perfect. You're bringing the emotion, the trigger, the blockage up to the surface. And that's where you can start really focusing on the smile energy and bring it in. Bring in the sensation. Ignore the story. Go into the feeling. All right? So that being said, what we're going to do is we're just going to simply go through the mechanics of a simple belly breath and what this means right here. And then we're going to take this deeper. So if you're watching right here, my belly, this is my solar plexus. This is my pelvis right here. And this is my stomach. And when I inhale, now what I'm consciously doing is I'm relaxing everything, not just inhaling into the chest. I'm relaxing the pelvic floor. I'm relaxing the abdomen, the lower back, the whole entire cavity of the body, so that when I inhale and my diaphragm pulls down, everything shifts and opens. But the most important part, because that inhalation, that's almost like an excuse to get you into a full expansion, to find the stretch, but the exhale, this is what I want everybody to really focus on with the exhale. What we do is we bring this up to the top and then completely and totally relax. And see right here, I still have air in here. I can keep pushing. There's not all of it out. It's like you go up to the top and then you relax until you're right at that space where there's a 0 point. And that 0 point right there, what this does, the longer you can exhale, the longer you can smooth that out, the more you're de-triggering your fight or flight response, the more you're getting the vasovagal or the vagus nerve that triggers from the brain all the way down through the organs that are inside of that fight or flight, that panicky response, that type of a catch that lifts up through the entire body. This is what starts to de-trigger all of that. And almost 100% of the programs in the body are related to fight or flight because, you know, path of love, path of fear, fight or flight, rest and relaxation. They're very distinctive states inside of the body. And so what we're going to do is just simply play around with the deep belly breathing for the next 30 seconds or so. And then I'm going to start walking you through deeper levels of awareness with this. So go ahead and get nice and relaxed, shake it out a little bit, close the eyes. And let's just start to inhale and exhale. And really bring the brain into this focus, really concentrating and applying this focus. Strong, controlled, deep breath in, stretching it all the way up. And relax. And what you're doing right now is you're starting to calm the body just by forcing it out of the shallow chest breathing. This is a rest and relaxation breathing pattern. Shallow chest breathing is fight or flight. What I want you to do is keep this breath going. Really concentrate on this and put my voice, my sounds in the background, and stay informed and stay aware of where we're going. But keep the majority of the attention on stretching right up to the point to where you feel like you're straining, and then letting the breath go. Nice and gentle. What you're experiencing right now, it's definitely calming, it's definitely relaxing, but this is the brain controlling the breath. This is the brain in control. And what we're going to do is a simple, tiny perspective shift. And what we're going to do is, instead of looking at where the breath is being controlled and trying to hold on to that, we're going to simply shift our attention into the sensations that are being created by the breath right now. And the easiest place to do this is inside of the skin. Start to feel how your bones, your skeleton is expanding with the rib cage, and how the muscles are stretching your skin, and how the skin is starting to gently move underneath the clothes. See, this isn't anything different than was already happening. It's just that you're bringing your attention to it. And already, just by paying attention for just a few seconds here, the sensations in the skin, not only are they obvious, they're starting to get stronger. And here's where we can actually communicate with the body in the way that it understands, outside of words. Pretend like you've got a volume dial attached to these sensations inside the skin, and flex your will and turn these sensations up. And already, right away, not only are these sensations starting to get a lot more obvious, but there's a warmth, there's a prickling, tingling buzz that's starting to turn on. And with each inhalation, take that volume dial right where the last inhalation left off, and flex your will and strain. Turn that tingling awareness inside of the skin up even louder, more intense. Feel how this is starting to move the body and shift sensation in a way that you're not really used to. Now let's just go ahead and relax the breathing real fast. Let's bring the brain back into the forefront. That way we build those neurological pathways from the body brain back into logical thinking. Just go ahead back into your shallow breathing pattern and observe the sensations inside of the body right now. Don't try to do anything. Just look, see, feel sensations of the brain. Now logically, let's explain this. So your brain is only about 2 to 3% of the entire physical mass of your body. And so if this is the core understanding of where your consciousness is, you're locked inside of that. Now what you just did by shifting out of the control right here and into the sensation is dropped that coffee cup's worth of information you're used to using in the brain and poured it into the bucket of the body. It's not even enough to fill the bottom right here. And so immediately the bottom starts to fill with the bioelectric flow of your nervous system. What's happening here, since you're focusing in the skin, the attention brings the bioelectricity there, and that tingling is the iron in the water in your blood electromagnetically activating. And so this field right here, this is just the outer layers. This is like the onion of the body, and we've just opened up the skin. And that's one sensation. It took you a little bit to get there, but now that you know it, watch this. Big, deep belly breath right into the skin and turn that tingling awareness up. Let's build this up. 5 or 6 breaths here, nice and strong. And if you're not feeling tingling, pay attention to the warmth. Pay attention to how there's movement. It's like softness. Things that are hard that are starting to warm up and dissolve. Turn that up. Now this is just the skin. This is only the outer layer of the body. We still have to understand where our bones, our muscles are in order to really feel the chi activation. Everybody moves chi, but the outer awareness is where most people are. And as we turn up this inner awareness, it's going to be super easy to move energy because you'll feel it. What I want you to do is turn this up in the skin louder and more intense. And on the exhale, drop your awareness underneath the skin. It's like you're draining that tingling into the soft tissues below. And start to really feel the mechanics of the breath. Feel how your rib cage expands and opens. Feel how the abdomen, where it hooks from the rib cage to the pelvis, it balloons out on the front and the sides. Feel how you can literally expand your breath to the point to where you feel these muscles stretching. That's the tension. Now you're starting to become aware of it. Just like inside the skin, flex your will and turn this volume dial up. Feel that tingling awareness explode inside the body, everywhere. Now, before we go any further, we're going to simply dip into the spirit levels, into the emotion. We know that our energy, our happiness is not the smile. So put the smile on your face and do the exact same thing. Inhale into the skin, muscle, bone awareness and turn it up, but carry the flavor of the smile with you. It's like you're pulling that warm, gentle softness into the body with the inhale. Deep, full, soft breaths. And start using that exhale. It's almost like your inhale when you stretch and you feel that tension, that pulling. It's like Velcro that you're becoming aware of. Use that exhale to start dissolving that Velcro with this warm, gentle smile. Feel how your muscles start to let go. You're not talking to them with words. You're not saying, please let go, muscles. Please relax. You're not wishing, you're not hoping. You're bringing your awareness right into that fascial body-brain layer, and you're showing it what relaxation feels like. And your body understands that. Now watch this. This volume dial is universal. You can use it anywhere, not just for awareness, but for releasing as well. Start to turn up the volume dial on that exhale. Inhale, turn that tingling, smiling awareness up. Feel it flood through the body, softening hard places. Exhale and dissolve the Velcro and start straining to relax. Start working to let it go. Such an odd dichotomy, but it's so easily felt once you know what you're looking for. Now, those hard places that are softening inside of you, this is physical tension holding on to emotional memory. Points in time, trauma. And as you exhale, feel how you're starting to slightly lift And it's like these hard spaces are getting heavy. Simply feel the gravity of the earth on that exhale. And as you release and dissolve the Velcro, feel these hard places, these heavy places, these tense places slide out right into the earth. Almost like the earth is sucking it out right through you. Feel it burning up in the crystalline fires of Gaia below. Feel the gravity of the sun locking the earth into place up above you. And feel the gravity of the sun sucking out as you exhale and dissolve the Velcro as well. Feel how this isn't just cleaning you anymore. How you inhale and your cloud of energy, your cloud of smiling, it moves outside of the body as well. And as you exhale and release into the gravity, you can feel it cleaning the environment. It's almost like it's not as heavy outside anymore. Now what we're going to do is start moving this energy with intention inside the body. And we do that just by mimicking movement. And the easiest movement that's internal that we can create is the breath. So take that skin, muscle, bone awareness right into the nose and the nostrils. And as you inhale, follow that smile, follow that wind through the sinuses, back through the throat, down into the chest. And it's almost like you're recognizing that you can actually feel the rivers of your lungs, the branches, the pathways that the air takes, because you can. You're paying attention to it. Now watch this. Turn that volume dial up. Demand that tingling awareness comes through that entire pathway, pulling the smile right into the lung tissues and exploding that tingling warmth. Just like that. That's the bioelectric activation. It's no longer just inside of you. You can feel that very strong outside. It's like you're in a bubble of tingling, smiling energy now. What we're going to do is start to move this internally. Before you've just been turning it on, now we're going to flow through, almost like liquid moving through a sponge. What I want you to do, when you inhale, follow it even more intensely all the way into the bottoms of the lungs, and then use that magnetic inhalation to pull that tingling, smile, windy awareness all the way into the hands, all the way into the feet. And on the exhale, dissolve the Velcro connected into much more than just musculature now. Very good, everybody. See that sensation outside of the lungs, that tingling movement, that sensation of something turning on, a buzz, a warmth, a good sensation. That's the flow. This volume dial is universal. Flex your will, turn it up, and move more. Demanding this flow like water in the body flushes through everything. And on the exhale, utilize where it's not flowing to recognize where you need to drop the Velcro to release the weight. There it is right there. See, and this is how we start cleaning out patterns. This is how we start getting into that genetic history, that genetic programming that leaves these permanent stuck spaces that don't go anywhere until we bring attention to them. That smile energy, if you can create high vibration emotion on command, dysfunction really becomes an option. See, this is just the outer doorway. You're already just getting through this right here. You're just starting to feel these sensations. Watch, we can turn anything up. We can go into any frequency of emotion. I want you to tune into the words, thank you. And start to think about the feeling that would bubble up inside of you that comes out in a gush, in a blurb that just makes you just want to let that person know, thank you so much. Thank you. Put that sensation into your smile and inhale that into the top of your head, the tips of your fingers, and the tips of your toes, flushing through everything in between. We feel gratitude a lot. We direct it outside. But what you're doing right now is directing it inside. Truly feel gratitude for your meat suit, your starship, your body. This is your temple. This is your gateway through the moment, right here, right now, to go anywhere, anytime, any place, anywhere, any when. But this is the foundation right here. Let's turn this up again. I want you to tune into the feeling behind the words, I love you. What is that sensation that bubbles up inside that comes out? I love you so much. There it is right there. Now what's happening is a lot of you are starting to actually trauma release right now. Pay attention to the emotion that's coming up as you're doing this. Pay attention to the sadness, pay attention to the anger, the frustration, whatever it might be. Don't hold yourself in judgment. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to yell, yell. If you want to laugh, just let it go. Pull in that beautiful smile, wreathed in gratitude, wreathed in love, and recognize where you want to go. You love this feeling that you're creating. Everything that's popping up right now, everything that's hard, everything that's refusing this energy, that's the blockage. And it's coming right up so you know right where it's at. What we're going to do is know where we need to work, but not give it the attention, not give it the awareness. We're going to pull in that joy. We're going to pull in that tingling, and we're going to lift our bodies up, lighting up like the sun, connected directly into this heaviness. And what you're looking for is as you inhale and rise, it's like a balloon with a tether. It's not moving. Find out what's pulling down. Find out what's heavy. Find out what hurts. And now that you've built up so much on the outside of this blockage, let's start inhaling it into the inside. What I want you to do is pretend like you've got a spinning cyclone of a tornado each time you take a breath. And I want you to inhale right into where it's stuck, what refuses to laugh, what refuses to love or be grateful. And inhale, put that sharp end right on it and spin, inhaling deep inside. And on the exhale, force that hard spot to blossom open like a flower, dropping the weight, releasing it, letting it go. And turn this up, inhaling deep inside, exhaling and forcing that stuck, uncomfortable space to blossom like a flower, brilliant, golden, laughing, loving, grateful. And feel that heaviness dissolve right into the earth, right into the sun, as it sucks right out of you. Very good. Now let's just bring our logical thinking brain back into this. Go ahead and wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take a deep breath into the chest. Blink the eyes a couple of times. And from the brain, just feel the body. Notice how quiet the mind is right now. Move the body around. It's almost like you just oiled your joints. Just turned your muscles into jello. Feels good. Notice your emotional state right now. You might have had a trauma release. You might have had some emotion that just came up. Or you might not have. But either way, what's left over is a feeling of almost calm satisfaction. It's not like you're polarized and super joyful and super excited. And it's not like you're kind of hiding in depression a little bit. It's not like you're slightly frustrated. It's almost like a center inside of all of that. Now let's think about this for a second. The body works on hormones and chemicals. The emotional body works on energies, and we can put a name to each one of those energies. That's joy. that's love, that's excitement, that's hope. You know, we can feel those flavors. And what we just did right there is we used a very high polarized energy to find spaces that were stuck, that were on the other end of that polarization. And we're not supposed to be polarized. We're supposed to be in unity consciousness, in center, where it's super simple to go in any range of human emotion. Because I'll tell you one thing, if you start utilizing anger as something that's a positive and a powerful force that you don't allow to get stuck inside of you, I guarantee you, if you see something that is injustice, if you see something that needs to get done and it causes a righteous anger, you're going to have more motivation to get that done than you ever would with any smile, laughing, loving type of energy, powerful. And that's what we want to start recognizing, is it's not about getting stuck inside of these nasty emotions, but utilizing them just like we utilize the powerful emotions. Those are the ones that feel good. We enjoy them. These are the ones that don't. We don't enjoy them. We're naturally wired to look away from this and seek out this. And so the only way that we can actively balance it out if we have a whole bunch of this nasty stuck inside of us is to bring our attention and our awareness right into it. And once we do that, having knowledge of what is clean and powerful and lifting, all we have to do is create that inside of there and then give it permission to let go. And then the story doesn't matter. That might have been a trauma or a moment in time from 10 or 15 years ago where you had a really, really awful interaction with somebody. And, you know, that person might have been awfully deserving of those feelings and emotions because they might have been a really rotten person to begin with. Now, that's all the story. They did this and this to me. They're always trying to get over on people. They're always doing this, this, and this, and they're always looking out for them. They don't care about anybody, blah, 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 blah. If you drop the words and you go into the feeling, you'll recognize you're holding on to resentment. You're holding on to anger. You're holding on to shame, guilt. You know, there's a whole bunch of things that get locked inside of that story, and the words will justify what that story does to keep that feeling locked inside of you every single time. And all that we just did today was simply get out of the mind and go into the body, and then communicate on the level that it understands. And once you can do this, you can start to utilize this energy body in a way that most people don't recognize how truly powerful they actually are. And if anybody's ever watched Doctor Who, like the auric field, like here, hold on, let me turn my camera off real fast. So if you look at this picture right here, I use the 3 energy centers of the body. I use the head, the heart, and the lower abdomen. And these are the neural tissues. It's the brain, the heart, and the intestines. And there are other energy centers that I utilize in the body, but this is where I direct my attention, and it neurologically connects into everything else. But the auric field, that bubble around me, that a lot of you are actually feeling this as we were turning that up. It was like a feeling of buzzing outside the body, a feeling of warmth outside the body. That right there, this is your TARDIS. It's just like Doctor Who. You can go anywhere in time and relative dimensions in space. And that's what's so fun about this work right here, is it's not about just learning how to clean ourselves out, because, you know, don't get me wrong, everybody already feels way better. Everybody already feels a lot more light and a lot more buoyant in the emotional level right here. But this isn't the end goal. This is just the first step, because now once you understand these, let's call them letters in this language, you're understanding how the body communicates with itself. But here's the thing. Your body communicates with itself, with your consciousness, the exact same way the entire universe communicates. And so if you learn to actually speak and communicate with your body, you can talk to the entire universe at large, and you can understand it, you can translate it. And this is how I know everything that I know, even if I don't know it to begin with. You know, if somebody asks me a question, I tune into the energy of what they're trying to figure out, and there's a language of light packet that turns into the words. It's like, instead of that feeling of gratitude that bubbles up into that thank you so much, you know, that's a very limited, small perspective. Like with something else, like a question, or I'm looking for a solution, there's so many different layers that get put inside of that lead to that one, how do I, or what is this? And so you can actually tune into that packet of information underneath it, and then you can translate back through and find where it's blocked and where it's not, and open it up and find the information. And so I do this almost automatically now. But this is how we start to do it. It's simply by tuning out of the brain and into the power of the body. Now, that was a lot of fun, but again, we're just stepping into this language right here. And in order to start tapping into the ancestral aspect, we just have to start, now that you know how to do this, build it up. So again, let me turn off my video. That way you can see the energy centers here. Now, if you look closely, the energy centers, they have a line that's connecting them. And this is the central channel. This runs from the perineum, which is right in between the anus and the genitals, all the way up through all the energy centers into the crown, and vice versa. It goes up and it goes down. And what we're going to do is start inhaling into this central channel, and on the exhale, blossoming it outside the body. Now, that blossoming sensation, what we were doing when we found the hard places inside of us and we started forcing the energy that we wanted into it and then blossomed it open like a metal flower blooming, that's the same type of a sensation. This, again, this is a universal body language command, but if you look at the actual shape of a flower blooming, it's a toroidal field. It goes up and it goes down and around all the sides, just like this auric field, how it blooms out the top of the head and then down and around the sides. And so flowers are something everybody's familiar with. Toroidal fields are really kind of alien to put inside the body, just because we don't have a natural form or a function of it. And so by picking your favorite flower and using that as a representation as the blooming field around you, that is oftentimes one of the strongest ways to get this going right here. And so what we're going to do is inhale into the actual heart space itself. And on the exhale, we're going in both directions. I want you to bloom this out the top of the head and down and around all the way, and bloom this down the bottom, out through the root and up and around. Okay? So let's go ahead and start inhaling into the heart space here. Exhale and bloom your laughing light flower out the top of the body. Feel it blooming around. Inhale deep in. Exhale and push down, blooming out the root, feeling that flow up. And if you find that one's stronger than the other one, that's okay. That's letting you show where you're polarized, where you're off balance. And so we're going to spend the next 5 or 6 breaths working on the one that did not move as easily. We're going to open that one, and then we're going to start doing both at the same time. Really pulling in all the flavors of emotion you can, that gratitude, that love, that laughter. You can even go deeper. You can start tuning into forgiveness or hope, excitement, wonder. There's so much that you can tap into once you know how. Start to blossom this open both sides. Feeling your head opening, feeling your root opening. And it's almost like they're connecting right around the heart space on the outside of the body. There we go. And that starts to turn up a much stronger buzz outside. It's almost like your body heat you can feel contained in a space around you. This right here, this outer field, this is what we're going to start inhaling into. Almost like we're blowing up a balloon. I want you to start inhaling laughter, light, and excitement into the field around you. And on the exhale, blossom open the entire field like your heart space is the center of the flower. And it's reaching 10 feet above you, 10 feet around you, 10 feet below you. And feel how this starts to lift you up. There's a feeling of weightlessness here. You might be able to knock loose any leftover heavy pieces. But concentrate on turning that inhalation up. Feel yourself rising. Feel yourself getting stronger. And we want to create a very strong space. A very powerful space. From this space right here, what we want to do is tune into what we want to clean out. And today, it's our ancestry, it's our genetics. So what we're going to do is the mother's side first. What I want you to do is just like when you feel somebody walk too close to you without permission. It's like an invasion of your bubble. I want you to feel that pressure behind you and to the left at the back of your bubble. And I want you to place your mother right inside of this. There it is. feel how suddenly you are getting dragged down. It's like the tingling on the back of the body just dropped in intensity. This is that awareness. Begin to inhale yourself back up, pulling your mother with you, full of light, full of joy, full of laughter, bringing it up. There we go. And we're paying attention to where she's dragging down. Where inside of you does this hook in? And I usually find it somewhere on the spine, or it's somewhere in the abdomen. But it could be anywhere. It could be at the temple, it could be a leg, it could be, I've seen them in elbows before. It really doesn't matter. Feel where it's dragging down, full body awareness. What we're going to do, now that everybody has a clean awareness of this, is begin to inhale right into the point where it's jammed into you. It's like a black, heavy tentacle that goes from your mother and pops into you. Inhale into it. And on the exhale, blossom out the back of your body, a beautiful golden spinning flower, and spin that tornado through the density right back towards your mother. And just like you release the weight out of you on the exhale, let it go from you, let it go from her, and let it go from, most importantly, the space in between you where the program is echoing. Feel it sucking into the earth, sucking into the sun, feeling the brilliant transformative consciousnesses of the planet, of the star, effortlessly taking in this energy and transmuting it to beautiful, beautiful light. There we go. And slowly light your mother up until she's rising up with you instead of dragging you down. Now here's where the kicker is. Feel where she's getting dragged down by her parents. She was handed a bunch of density and had no idea what to do with it, just like she handed it down to you. It's not your fault that you had these emotions and these feelings and these sensations, just like it's not hers either. That's why we're here right now, in these genetics, to find this density that goes back so far. And start to release the weight from your grandparents, inhaling through the gateway of right now, through your mother. And feel their programs starting to dissolve. Feel them lifting up with you as well. And feel their parents behind them. And start to recognize that you are one point inside of this massive system. And yet already you're starting to lift up the point of light inside of the darkness that refuses to stay down, that's carrying everybody with you. And lift, rise, release everything that's heavy on the back end. Feel it dissolve and transmute, and lift up your ancestors, going back 4 generations, then 5, and then 6, all the way back to a full 7 generations where this becomes a crowd, and start to populate all of the non-direct relatives, the brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins. And feel yourself inside of a massive crowd, men, women, and children, leading the charge into the light. Feel all of them lifting up behind you as you start to lift together. I want you to tune into that innocent, childlike laughter, that beautiful 2, 3-year-old innocence, unashamed, hysterical belly laughter, and start to echo this through the entire crowd of the matriarchal line. Feel them all catch. Feel them all pick this up. Feel your ancestors stand behind you with grace, with dignity, with pride. Shining love straight through the line, back from the pristine, beautiful origins of humankind. Right to here, right now. Reach out Inside of this space, you don't have just two hands. Reach out and place your hand on the face of every single one of your ancestors. Feel them reaching forward and doing the same. Wipe tears out of eyes. Smile. Feel them smiling back. And collectively, all together now, holding hands, holding shoulders, loving, holding close. Inhale as one genetic field and lift yourself up just like you did in your body. As above, so below. You know how to do this in the body. You know how to do this for all of your genetics on the matriarchal side. Beautiful. Becoming so bright that you can't even make out individuals anymore. And in this space, honor who came before. Allow them to honor you. Feel those sparks of that divine feminine starting to spark. That beautiful nurturing love. That unshakable resilience. Very good. Now we're going to allow ourselves to gently come back, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, feeling the body, feeling the breath. Let's bring it back down. Let's open up the mind. Start to study the body, feeling the relaxation, feeling the release, feeling the gentleness. You all did so good. Oh, this is beautiful to watch. But see how we're half off balance right now? It's almost like everything's lifting up on one side, but we can totally feel where the patriarchal side, the father side, is dragging down now. And now that we have this awareness, this is going to be so easy to clean out. Now that you know where you're at, let's go ahead and build this back up. Inhaling that joy, inhaling that love, sparking that beautiful divine feminine energy that you felt. Now you can create and turn it up. Feel yourself lifting like the divine goddesses, even if you are male, that you are. Because that's the point of this. There is no polarity. If you are a man, you want to be polarized inside of feminine energy. If you're a male, you want to be polarized inside of male energy. Excuse me, female, you want to be inside male energy. That's what shows us where we naturally come from, and then it shows us where we need to balance. Now let's really start to lift this up. Inhaling into the body, exhaling and blossoming open that brilliant, beautiful flower, 10 feet above, 10 feet out and around, 10 feet below. Already knowing right where our Father's at, we just have to tune into him behind us. Feel how it drags down. Feeling it dragging down, lift yourself back up, dragging this entire system up into the light with you. Feeling all of this heaviness, that uncertainty, that inability to protect. It's all in here. And again, it's not your father's fault that he didn't know how to do this. He was never shown it either. He was passed down a crap sandwich just like we were. But what we have is through these genetics, the ability to go in and say, you know what? It's okay. I love you. And I forgive you. You didn't know any better. As you lift up, feel where he's dragging down. Feel where the heaviness is. It might be more than one space, but pick the heaviest one, the biggest one. And inhale that smile, inhale that joy, inhale that laughter right into the space. And on the exhale, blossom open the back of the body and spin that brilliant, beautiful tornado of love, of gratitude, of innocent childlike laughter. And dissolve the weight from you. Dissolve the weight from in between you. And dissolve the weight from your father. Feeling him starting to let go. Feeling him rise up. Whether or not he's alive now, or whether he's passed. It's all viable energy. This is all your DNA. This is your space. Just like it's his. And really turn up the feeling you want to experience. A feeling that you wish you could pass down to future generations. And exhale and release everything that does not align with that. That's heavy, that's stuck. There we go. And feel your father starting to lift up onto this level. Feel where his parents are connected in behind him. And I always find this one's a heavier one than the female side. The female side's always more, it feels hurt. It feels more damaged. This one always feels like there's so much weight that just broke its back. Start to weight lift this energy, really straining to rise, really straining to lift. Release from your grandparents. Release from you. Feeling their parents stepping in as well. Finding that space, that point that's rising up, that's starting to find it easy to release, to let go, to rise. And turn this up. Exhale and let it go. And I find when releasing the stuck patriarchal side, that beautiful, innocent, childlike laughter, it's so clean, so innocent. And it releases that need to hold on, to be strong, to break under the strain. There it is, right there. Beautiful. Start to flow back further, feeling the crowd starting to form. The brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins. Feeling the entire crowd starting to stand strong, unbent. Looking up, feeling the smile starting to take form on everybody's face. Feeling that divine, sovereign strength of that sacred masculine starting to rise. Those unshakable, beautiful boundaries powered by love, powered by joy. That safe space. Everyone's welcome. Everyone's safe. Everything's protected. And feel the strength of this rising. Feel this crowd strengthening each other, lifting, becoming stronger, more powerful, more beautiful. And inside of this space, I want you to inhale into the feminine aspect, feeling the entire matriarchal line populate inside of what you're inside right now. Feeling that beautiful, nurturing emotion, stepping inside of that beautiful space of protection, of clarity. It's like the rose in the sun. Without the sun, we can't appreciate the beauty of the rose. But without the rose, there's no purpose for the sun. Feel them growing and evolving together, rising, lifting, braiding this unity understanding, There is no separation between male and female, just different flavors that harmonize together. And honor this space of your ancestry. Honor this space that you were able to clean for the entire planet. Because as we go back this far, there are so many people who are related to us that are in this crowd right here, right now. That as you release these programs from the entire genetic history, you're releasing them from the entire planet. You're affecting the entire solar system right now through this gateway of you. And I honor you for this work, for this space. I honor you for this joy, this expansion of what you've stepped up in here to do. This isn't about just you. This is about all of us. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's ever so gently start to bring it back. Gently wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. Breathing into the body, blinking the eyes. You might want to actually rub your face a little bit. We went really, really far out. Sensations in the body are really easy to bring you back in. Let's just give this a space to integrate. Consciously looking at the body with the mind, seeing how you feel, moving the body, feeling the muscles, feeling the bones. Let's consciously, for the next 15 to 20 seconds or so, intend for no noise, for absolute stillness inside of the body. And inside of this stillness, I want you to gently speak out loud inside of your head. Just say, I love you. That's what your voice sounds like without outside interference. That's what your voice sounds like without brain programs and thought loops. This is your natural space. This is where you belong. You didn't do anything special other than release what kept you from here. Thank you all so much for this. I really appreciate everybody so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I learned a lot just by walking you guys through this. And there was so much that I didn't even know was going to end up happening that happened today. And I just want to honor you all for the space that you took inside of this. It's a really beautiful beginning. Thank you all. Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything that we want to cover? Is there anything that we want to explore in greater detail before we're done here?
I do, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where my video is. Let's see if I can start it. It says that you have to start my video. But if you can just hear me, that's fine anyway. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I found that there was so much pain as I was breathing and doing the exercises that I could get a sense of the one who's able to smile, but there was only a pinprick of that energy. And there's just so much crying and sobbing and real deep pain, physical and emotional. So it was very hard to get a sense of.
So what you were experiencing right there was an extreme trauma release on the physical fascial levels. And that's actually a really good thing, because even if there was just that pinprick, what you've got here, let me turn my camera on real quick here.
Okay.
Even if you've just got that one pinprick, that's enough right there for you to tune your awareness into that and to start to turn up that volume dial. And
Okay.
this is where we really want to start recognizing that as we are building up these energies, as we're coming into a much higher vibrational space, what happens is as we carry these densities with us, it's like going through the eye of the needle. There's nothing that can go through the eye of the needle except for what is clean and open and flowing, like air, like liquid.
Right,
And
right.
these dense spaces, these heavy spaces that are causing physical pain, it's literally muscles that are holding on to your fascial tension inside of the body. And so
Yeah.
speaking to your physical fascia and telling it to let go, you're getting it to release, which is then starting to slide out the physical tension inside of the energy right there. And that comes up to the surface. And what you were doing by focusing on that little pinprick, even if it was just that little pinprick, you were telling your body what you wanted. And so right now, even though there was a lot of pain and crying and a lot of release, you feel a lot better, don't you?
Yeah, I feel incredible hope that I was able to get that golden frequency into the
Oh,
depth of the
beautiful.
agony, like in the back of my heart. I was able to get that
So,
prick into the worst of the worst that's
so
never received.
quick little side note here, Sarah. The most important thing that you can be focusing on right now, especially in that situation, is not the light. The light is effective for getting awareness in there. It's that laughter. It's that innocent, beautiful, childlike laughter. And I've actually been toying with the idea of going through like an inner child regression, going back through. So just like we went in today, where we got the body into a much higher vibrational state right there.
Yeah.
You can go in anywhere. Like I said, it's the TARDIS, time and relative dimensions in space. You can, inside of that space, start to reverse your age all the way back until you were a little girl who didn't have any of the programs that came into fruition, and you were just a soul exploring reality around you. And from that space right there, you can bring that all the way back into now. So I've actually been toying around with the idea of offering that as a service as well. So, we could actually play around with that, and I can start honing that in with you as well if you wanted to later on.
Oh, I'd love to do that because I felt like, oh, I want that laughter. You know, remember when Led Zeppelin, they say, does anybody remember laughter? And I was like, whoa, yeah, that innocent laughter that's not like a contrived laughter, but it's just
Exactly.
laughter that's bubbling up from the pure,
Exactly.
spontaneous,
See,
right,
and that's
contact.
what we're creating right there, because with the smile, with that energy inside of the body, our body knows what we're trying to create. And as we pull it in, if there's anything that's in the way that is not of that energy, it blocks it, it sticks it, it gets stuck in the way. And
Yeah.
so then what we can do is we can utilize our awareness, not with the word awareness, but with the actual feeling awareness. And it's like we're moving water through something and then realizing that the water has to go up over here in order to get around. That means that we have a space right there we can bring our attention to. You can bring that smile tornado in, you can blossom that open, you can release that and let that go. So it's all about the feeling and the smile energy, that love, that joy, that gratitude energy. I find that hands down is the most important thing to focus on when we're releasing these types of things, simply because they're stuck full of like their fuel is the negative emotion. It's that stuck traumatic,
Yeah.
nasty
Yeah.
feeling. And so if we transmute that, then the whole entire framework dissolves out. And it doesn't matter what the story is up top. What matters is
Right.
where it's all stuck inside of the body. And as soon as we release the reason for the tension, the muscles start doing this weird, shaky, spasmy thing, and then they let go, and you feel way better.
Yeah, I feel the dolphin energy. Like I have lots of dolphins that are just coming all around that say they want to help with that, because they have that
I,
spontaneous joy.
I've been playing around with a lot of dolphin energy actually. So there is a whole host of dolphins. So you've got water dolphins that we know about that actually swim around in the oceans, and then you have fire dolphins and earth dolphins and air dolphins. And
Right.
we can't actually see the other ones. And the fire ones, they exist inside of the plasmasphere of the sun, and they've been getting closer and closer to the earth. They're really
Yeah.
really interesting, super
Yeah,
joyful, creative.
totally.
They direct with almost like a sonar type of a radar, and they've really showed me how to pinpoint and find a kind of isolate and harmonically resonate things. Like you put up multiple points of frequency that you broadcast into one spot, and then all like the frequency kind of turns into that harmonic resonance, just like when you have two people that are singing in harmony, how that
Whoa.
song kind of comes together like that. Yeah, the dolphins are great. You guys should totally explore them. Here, let's get
Uh,
you muted real quick. Does anybody else have? Just go ahead and unmute yourself real fast.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I just well, first of all, that was amazing. That's the most relaxed my body's ever felt in my whole life, and I'm 46. The thing that just I've got a million, well, not questions, a million things I could tell you about how beautiful it was. The only question that was left in my head that I'll be thinking about all night is, how do you use that beautiful skill to contact the universe to ask questions?
So
you mentioned that, and I thought, well, that's just something else entirely.
so I can't really ask questions in the way that like it's not words. It's not like I'm broadcasting out and then transceiving an answer back. What it is, so say for instance, here, let's actually try to practice this. So what do you want to know? What do you want to get information about? What is something that you've been trying to figure out lately?
Gosh. Why I was given the number 22. That's
Why
that
given the number 22?
My whole life, it's an important puzzle I have to solve.
Okay. So what I want you to do, put your hands facing each other like this, and let's inhale through the arms into the hands and blossom open the hands with laughter and excuse me, with laughter and light. Now, everybody else, you can do this too. And instead of just following along with the 22 energy that we're going to tune into, I want you to tune into whatever the feeling is that you're looking for. Excuse me, my breakfast is coming back. Okay, sorry. So let's go ahead and start inhaling into this right here. And as you exhale and blossom open the hands, feel that bubble that you're creating in between the hands. It's almost like a magnetic pushback. Start to pull that smile in. Feeling it change that buzz. It's almost like it's starting to shine and light it up like the sun. There we go. Now we're holding on to a really strong ball of energy right here. And this is just benign energy unless you actively give it a purpose. And so what we want to do is let's tune into why 22. It's a questionness about the specific number 22. And I want you to inhale the feeling of why 22 into this. Now, do you feel how that's changing the sensation? It's not the same anymore, is it, Carrie?
No, it's different, yeah.
What I want, well, that tingly right there, do you feel how it's almost like, it's almost wet now, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was a wee bit spiky as well, almost.
Mm-hmm. That's the information, that's the energy, that's the flavor. And so what you need to do now is start to translate the flavor. And so the way that I do this is I simply pull it into my body and I feel it, I explore it. And so what I want you to do is just inhale and pull that sensation into the chest. Exhale and blossom it open and just sit with it. And don't worry about words, worry about sensations. What does it feel like? What does it make you think of?
It makes me feel excited.
So why 22? Is it excitement energy? Is that something that you find is powerful for you?
Yeah, I think it's a life path thing. I think it's about what's to come. That's what I got from it. That's what's coming to my feeling, is it's about excitement of what's to come somehow.
Perfect. See, and that right there, what you want to do is you want to take your logical knowledge and understanding and take that and temper the information that's coming through. And it's really easy. You can tune into anything. You know, you just have to find the path of least resistance for it. So.
I'll have some fun with that. Thank you.
Great. You're very welcome. Does anybody else have any questions before we're done here?
I do. So, what you just did?
This is Miss Sunshine. What's your name?
Yeah, it's Danita.
Oh, hi, Bonita.
Danita. Nice to meet you. So, I just want to see if I understood correctly. So, when we have a question, we inhale, power up the ball, and then we power it up with the feeling of the question.
Yes, and it's not words, it's the actual feeling of it. And so say, for instance, that you're trying to find, you've got a rocky path in front of you, and you've got a whole bunch of decisions that you don't know which is the right one that you should take. What you want to do is take that whole scenario, not is it this decision or this decision or this decision. You want to take everything that's kind of stuck, like the whole feeling of the scenario, and you want to put that into one sensation and then inhale that into there, and then you bring that in and you sit with it, and it's almost like then you have the path of the brightest, the cleanest pathway. It kind of pops up inside of you, and then you start to understand that.
Got it. Okay, so that was just the question. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else?
I do.
All right. Oh, okay, here we go. So I don't see a name, actually.
Oh.
What's your name?
Linda.
Hi, Linda. Oh, you're admin. I gotcha.
Oh yeah, I'm admin. It's not really a question per se. It's that the crowd that came. I couldn't quit saying, I love you, and I might cry. But when I was able to be that for them, they were then able to come to me and started blessing me for being here now. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. So
yeah.
I cried.
Yeah, this is exactly why I feel like this has to start really spreading to the world right now, because there's so much that can be born inside of this just by simply releasing this density. We're not spending all that energy keeping it up, you know, and then we have all that extra space to build light and what we want inside the body. Yeah. And it's very, very empowering to be able to step into that space and look back at that entire history, that entire crowd, and just honor them for who they were, and it's not their fault, and just release the blame and let it go. And then just everything comes back into center, and it's just like you're surrounded by it's like other aspects of you. There's just unconditional love, and yeah.
So thank you so much.
You are so very welcome. I'm so glad that you had that experience. That was a lot of fun. That was really
it was great.
I have a question. Natasha does.
Natasha, hi.
So Linda bringing that up made me realize I do have a question. So when I was gathering with all of my maternal family and we were loving and I was sobbing and it was just so much love, and I can't really, I don't have words to describe the feeling that it was. And it felt so light and joyful, very nurturing. But then when I ended with the paternal father, it felt different. It felt like trust. The word trust kept coming in, and it felt real strong and like action.
Mm-hmm.
Are they supposed to feel different like that?
Yes, that's exactly what's going on. Divine feminine and divine masculine, they're two separate things, but they're just the same sides of the same coin. It's yin and it's yang. And so where you have a weakness in one, you usually find a strength in the other, and they bolster each other because they resonate and they harmonize together. And so what you were feeling right there was that space. It's like a broadcasting of like, this is my space right here, and everything that's inside of this is perfectly safe. Because I'm here. I'm going to make sure that it's perfectly okay. This is my space of love. And anything that comes inside of this, if it's not of love, then it can't even get in. And that's the protective peacekeeper role. That's that trusting, strong, masculine aspect right there. But at the same time, it can also nurture. It can also create. It can also grow. And the same way that we're tuning in with the feminine energy, it was all release of the damage to the divine feminine. You know, there's so much wounding that's happened to the feminine, but on the other aspect, there's so much that's happened to the sacred masculine that caused that to even happen to begin with. You know, how do you come from such a trusting, protective, loving space and then flip it over into a rapist, warmongering murderer? You know, and like that's the damage that we're releasing right now. And those are those harmonizing feelings. It's the strength, and then you have that power inside of it. So it's really cool stuff. I'm really glad that you had that differentiation there.
Yeah, I did. And thank you, because I wasn't sure, because it felt different also. I didn't know if it felt heavy or if it felt strong. Like so I couldn't quite tell the difference.
It's a bit of both. There's been a lot of weight placed onto the sacred masculine because it is strong. And so what do you do in order to break something that's strong is you just keep on adding pebbles to its weight until it collapses underneath it. And that's similar to what happened. And so today what we were doing was not just releasing the damage of the divine feminine, but we were lifting up that weight and releasing that weight from the sacred masculine as well. So again, like I said, you guys did amazing work. Like this isn't just you, you're helping everybody out.
Thank you, Eric. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Like this was really great. Like I was absolutely blown away by where that path went. I had no idea that it was going to end up there. So, you know, thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Just Eric, when we're breathing like both from the earth and from the heavens, I get a little confused. I find that it's more of, I have to just intend to do it because my mind can't quite go up and down at the same time. So I'm just wondering if there's any.
Gotcha. So you don't want to do this with your mind. What you want to do this with is the sensation. It's almost like you've got a drain in your head and a drain in your feet and your root, and it's draining out because the gravity's going in both directions. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
So if you can't do it with one, or with two, just do it with one, and just alternate. So use one breath to drop into the earth and one breath to pull it into the sun.
Okay, got it.
All righty. Anybody else?
Okay, I have one more question. So for me, this experience was really intense. I wasn't expecting it to be this intense. I was crying my ass off. But the feeling that I have is that the work is not done. So yeah, so we are repeating the same process.
And
how do we know when it's done?
So I honestly don't know, because I still have to do this as well. I think what's going on, like the feeling that comes in. So say for instance, this is the container of all the density of everything that we're cleaning out right now. And the planet's like right inside of that. What we're doing is it's like we're cleaning out slivers, and then as that cleans out, it's like there's a bleed through effect from everything else around it that comes in. And so it's like we're cleaning out a space, and then it dilutes everything by going in and dirtying up that clean space. And so everybody's connected, everybody's related when we go back that far. There's always a pathway that reaches on that level. And so it's almost like instead of our direct line, it's like somebody else, like a cousin 3rd times removed, like 17 generations back. That's a gateway that starts to bleed through more. And so what we do, the more of us who are doing this, the more we're cleaning out our slice of the pie, and the more it's bleeding through until eventually it's clean energy, and then nobody has to deal with it.
So basically we should incorporate this in our, maybe not daily, but weekly energetic hygiene.
I would. And what's going to end up happening, the more that you do this, the more you're going to be in contact with your ancestry. And there's some really, really powerful and amazing gifts that everybody has back in their genetics that can start manifesting as they come through and really sit with this energy here. It's all about cultivation. It's all about the polarization of a specific feeling that you want, and then you just bring so much of that in that it creates a space where everything that's not that has to release. And inside of that, the more we sit with these ancestor energies, the more we start tapping into the really, really big stuff. You know, our ancestry goes back billions of years, if not trillions. And there's some really, really interesting stuff that we can tune into. And a lot of it actually goes off planet. So most of the stuff you guys were cleaning out right here, it was all humans. You guys didn't see anything that wasn't human. Wait until you start getting into those levels.
So basically what you're saying is that we can tap into talents of somebody who was like 10 generations ago and just...
Well, they pass down trauma, don't they?
So yeah, so they pass down their skills too. I like this. Thank you.
It goes both directions. Just because we're cleaning out trauma doesn't mean that's all we're doing here. We can utilize the same exact energy to tap into very, very powerful gifts.
Understood. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You know, and that's actually, thank you. I'm going to make sure I bring that up in the beginning of this before we get going with the actual coaching sessions and stuff like that, because a lot of times people, they go in and they expect nothing but like cleaning out junk. And if they're just looking at cleaning out junk, they're not, you know, looking for those diamonds inside of the junk that they're cleaning out. And so you might be throwing out the baby with the bathwater on some of those, and it would be way, way more effective to just find those little diamonds inside of there and turn those on and watch how it cleans everything else out. Good stuff. All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes, Eric, this is Jake.
Yes, Jake. Hi.
Thank you so much for that, by the way. It was really profound. I'm feeling a bit vulnerable, actually, after that. It was really, really intense. I was meaning to ask, how do you set aside responsibility when it comes to the ancestral lineage if you feel like some ancestors are still projecting responsibility for you right now? How do you...
Perfect. So my dad is a piece of work. So my mom and my dad, they got divorced when I was 2, and I grew up until I was about 15, and he wasn't even in my life. I get like a birthday card with like a $5 bill every once in a while. But it was about 15 when he got sober. So my dad, his history, he used to cook dope for the Hells Angels for some 20-something years. And he used to run around on motorcycles doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And when he started getting sick and tired of it and he got sober, he started coming back into my life. And it was really interesting because I was like, yay, my dad's back. Come to find out, my dad is really, really, he's damaged goods. You know, there's a lot that he passed down to me that I didn't, as a child, understand what was going on. And so there's a lot of things that I acted out that, you know, came down specifically from him and my mother. And I played those programs out to a T. And I thought I was supposed to, you know, be the most lethal person on the planet. And I was going to be a Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, and, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff that was going on there. And when I finally started to figure this out, and I recognized that my father was actively holding on through his anger, through his darkness, and what he doesn't want to let go, he's projecting that down through to me. You know, the biggest thing that I can do is just recognize that I have to make sure I'm paying attention to just being conscientious of energy coming through on that level and making sure I'm cleaning it out, because despite the fact that I can clean out my space, he's got free will, and so he can come seek out my energetic space whenever he starts thinking about me. So, you know, that's one of the things that I have to just recognize. Like, he might not want to change right now, and he probably never will, and that's perfectly okay. I can love him from a distance, but at the same time, he's not my responsibility. Just like everybody on the planet, it's not my responsibility to wake them up. And it's funny coming from my perspective doing what I do, but it's really not. You know, you guys are excited to do this, so you come to figure out these skills and these understandings from me. And so I'm freely just offering them, because it's not something that I have to force you to do. I wish I could force the world to do this, but it's all about free will. And my father, if he never wants to free will start cleaning out his life, he's just going to degrade and get worse and worse and worse. And he's just going to get more energetically dense until he dies. And that's okay. It's not my responsibility. And I love him, and I wish that he could have a pain-free, healthy life, but that's his prerogative. That's his learning curve right there. And if he refuses to step into a place that's cleaner, I can't force him. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but if you try to make him drink, you're just going to end up drowning him. And then there's hard feelings all the way around. And so what I do more than anything is I make sure that the programs that came down from my father, the aggression, the hostility, the sexual weird stuff, you know, all of those things, I made sure more than anything, I cleaned out all of those programs that came down from him, because I have a direct line into some really dense and heavy energies through him. And so I appreciate him in my life because of that role, but I don't have to let him energetically contaminate me. And, you know, my mom on the other end of this, you know, I started doing this genetic clearing work, and my mom, she's immediately starting to fall right into it. And she's really, you know, she was very, very heavily abused as a child. And she's got a lot of stuff going on from family connections and genetic clearing that, you know, some of the stuff that I just showed you guys how to do as well. And my mom's always been a rose-tinted glasses person. You know, it was, I can ignore it. If it's not happening, then it's not happening. I can ignore it. And she's actively stepping into cleaning out her childhood trauma now. She's going to EDMR therapy, where, you know, they have that that thing that goes back and forth, and it starts to induce trauma release. And she's starting to do energy work now. You know, so it goes both ways. When we do this energy work right here, if somebody's already open and receptive to it, they're probably going to start really stepping up into it already. But if they've got a lifetime built up inside of their programs, and, you know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks type of a thing, then they end up getting stuck. And it's okay. You know, it's a perfect example of how to maintain that high vibratory state inside of darkness, and not let that darkness affect you, but let you affect that darkness. And you just gotta, you know, recognize it's training. And anytime that you have emotions coming up inside of you that you don't enjoy, that's an opportunity to go in and clean out that trigger so that you don't ever have it happen again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And I was just going to ask, like, is there any tips or techniques that you can use if you, by your own will or energy buildup, still can't shift something that's blocked, and you feel like it's like intrusive? Like, can you call upon other beings or ancestors, like, to move energy?
So I personally don't like to call on anything to do something for me. What I've done is I've tripped into multidimensionality, and so I can call in infinite Erics now. And so you know, that's where I like to really hang out, is I take care of myself, and then I interact with things on the outside, but my field is so much bigger than I ever thought it was possible. Like, as big as this universe is, there's infinite versions of infinite Erics that all can communicate together. And that's what you guys are starting to kind of tap into right here, is breaking down those barriers so that you can step through that window of time and actually go through multidimensionality and start integrating on that level back into oneness. So what I do more than anything, if I find that I have something that won't shift and that won't move, stretching. Stretching is hands down the easiest way to start getting your physical muscle memory to relax and let go. And almost 100% of the time, the core energy is stuck inside of the muscle memory. And so if you're finding that, say for instance, you can't get the energy to move through your solar plexus, hang out in an upward facing dog or a cobra position where you're stretching everything from the hips all the way up into the chest and looking up and stretching your throat, and just breathe into it. Stretch all of that open, dissolve the Velcro on the exhale, and start to physically let go the spaces where you can't get the energy to shift and move. And that's hands down the easiest way I know how to. This really got hammered home because we just got done with my retreat at the beginning of July, and I had a lady who I've been working with. She lives over in the UK who showed up for the retreat. And we've been working together for about a year and a half now. And her liver was so blocked up that the whole right side was being shut down. And we've just been hammering at that for almost a year and a half. And then within 5 minutes of me getting my hands on her and getting the physical muscles and the organ itself to start draining, we got everything we were working on for almost a year and a half to let go in less than 5 minutes. So, you know, like this was something that, wow, okay, all right, we definitely have to go body, 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 mind, spirit. The mind and the spirit, we know very, very powerful levels here already. We need to internalize this. We have to bring this into the body, and that means getting the body to work, getting the body to move, getting the body to pump in the way that it's naturally supposed to with the natural endocrine and lymphatic balances. Does that make sense?
Yes, sure. Like, that's great. I was also going to just ask, what if your mind's eye is still fixated on the blockage? Like, do you just ignore that and focus on the body itself?
So that's your mind's eye right there. What you want to start doing then is go into the sensation. That's where you want to immediately just shut down whatever it is that you're focusing on and start feeling the breath, feeling that bioelectric activation, then pull the smile into that and then pull that into the blockage. Because your mind, it's always trying to look at the negativity. It's always trying to give you that thing that you need to avoid, and then it's trying to show you where you need to go to pleasure seek. And so if we're pleasure seeking while we're looking through this, we're ignoring where those blockages are, but your mind is trying to tell you this is the problem. And so we have to really just kind of let the mind know, like, okay, that's fine. I know the problem's right there. I'm going to feel this over here until it's strong. And then I'm going to move that there. Make sense?
Nice. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right. Anybody else?
And me again.
Hi.
So in one point, you mentioned language of light. If I understood correctly, that is connected with the sensations. Yes. And the way we feel sensations, that's the same how universe works, and that's how we can communicate.
Yes. Well, so what you're feeling inside of you is very similar to like if you're a kindergartner learning how to write your letters and read for the first time. And right now you're still, you know, like, well, what's that letter there? Okay. Oh, I did it backwards. Got to erase it. And then, you know, and it's really blocky. It's not fast. It's not streamlined. It's not smooth. What you're talking about is writing haiku in calligraphy. You know, it's like there has to be more understanding, and you got to build up those different layers to get to that point. But the basics are the same. If you inhale laughter, light, and joy inside of your body, and you direct that outward into anywhere in the universe, what you're doing is you're sending light, love, and laughter in a very physical, visceral way that anything can feel. You can take that to then explore the information outside of you instead of just staying inside and moving around. You can just move it outside.
Yeah. So sensations are like the basics, and then practice. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And so it'll get to the point to where if you're actually communicating with a light being, they can download a concept to you that you can understand and immediately translate, but it's like a PhD thesis worth of information, like 3 or 4 seconds. And then you'd have to spend like 50 pages writing it out, but you'd understand it. You know, it's like that whole entire concept that then you would have to translate into slow speaking English.
Understood. Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else? Alrighty. Oh, it looks like we might have some questions here. Hold on. Paul says, thank you, Eric. Wonderful. The fact that you said about always cleaning stuff out without seeing the diamonds, that fit home, because we can clean forever and miss our divinity. Exactly. You know, if we're always looking at the nasty, then that's all we're going to find. Sometimes we can clean out for years looking to become worthy of divinity. Thank you. You already are worthy. You know, that's the thing. If you didn't deserve to exist, then you wouldn't exist. And just by simply existing, that means that you're worthy. You know, the infinite creator already knows exactly how everything is supposed to be inside of creation. And so if your soul wasn't supposed to exist, it wouldn't. You know, that by right gives you divinity. You're alive. Sarah says, gotta run, everyone. Thanks so much, Eric. You are very welcome, Sarah. Thank you. All right, Lee says he's got to go too. All right, so I think we're at the end here, and that went about an hour and a half. That's about what I thought it was going to. So the workshop itself, we ended right at that hour moment. So that was really perfect how all that came together. I just got to say, thank you all so much for this. What I'm going to do right now is this is all recording. I'm going to download this from the Zoom cloud once it's done processing there. And then I'm going to put this directly on YouTube, and I'm going to send that email out to you guys with the replay so that you guys can do this. It's going to be available for the next week, and then you won't be able to find that video anymore. So I want the response in the email, either on Facebook or the email. Just kind of give me feedback from what you thought about the class, what I could have done better, what you really loved about it. So on and so forth, and let's really don't hold back. I'm really looking for constructive criticism here. So if there's something that you felt that I didn't do correctly or I could have done better, I really want to know about it so that we can really make this something that it's on for everybody, you know. And then after about a week or so, go ahead and just let me know how you feel after doing this for a week. And if you don't get the email, which I guess there were some problems with some people getting the emails, if you don't get it, just message me on Facebook and I'll send you the link directly from YouTube. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much. This was an absolutely beautiful experiment. I appreciate everybody's willingness to participate and give up part of their Saturday for this. And I'm honored to be here in this this Gateway facilitator space here. It's yeah, my life is amazing. Thank you all so much for helping me make it this way.
You're amazing. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Natasha. All right, everybody.
Thank you very much.
You are so very welcome. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.